In Canada, the average house value has increased by over 100% since 2011. If the nation is not already experiencing a recession, one is very likely on its way. The housing market is cited by economists as the cause, which may sound familiar. The United States is currently experiencing a severe housing affordability problem as a result of investor speculation, growing interest rates, and a shortage of available housing. Mike Moffat claims that conditions are comparable, if not worse, in Canada. In September 2023, the Canada House Value Benchmark Index for single-family homes fell 1.3% from August 2023, marking the third consecutive month of decline. It had dropped by 1.1% and 0.5% in the 2 months prior, reaching roughly $815,000. The wild and woolly sucker surge in the spring, spurred by the spring buying season and fictitious promises of rate reduction, was followed by the 3 months of collapses. Interest rates were raised to 5% by the Bank of Canada in an effort to rein in inflation. In Canada, where a typical home mortgage must be fully paid off after 25 years and refinanced after 5, the rise in mortgage rates is particularly costly. This is a key difference between the US and Canadian housing markets, since in the US, the typical homeowner gets a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage that protects them from rising rates for many years. Canadians have high levels of debt, in part because of this. With mortgages making up 75% of household debt, the nation has the most household debt of any G7 nation, as measured as a percentage of GDP. The total debt of Canadian households exceeds the GDP of the nation. The rising debt is attributed to rising housing prices by the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. In contrast, during the past 10 years, household debt in the US and the UK has declined. The Canadian real estate market went through an upswing phase prior to the 2008 financial crisis, marked by record levels of construction activity and soaring property values. The boom was caused by low interest rates, easy credit, and rising demand from both domestic and international customers. The market was notorious for its risky lending practices and speculative activities. Is 2024 going to be any different? Right now, things are very different in Canada. It is harder for some groups to enter the market now that lending guidelines are more stringent, interest rates are higher, and real estate values are higher than they were in 2008. In addition, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the market, leading to labor shortages and supply chain problems that have delayed construction and raised the price of development materials. Due to historically cheap loan rates that have persuaded tens of thousands of people to buy real estate despite increasing property prices, the epidemic has also caused Canadians to carry more debt. Because of this, a lot of people who bought during the pandemic have hefty mortgages, and when they renew on a 5-year cycle, homeowners will have to get used to significantly higher interest rates. Mike Moffat voiced concern that as the affordability crisis continues and immigration rates remain high, Canadians may attempt to curtail migration by blaming rising prices on immigration, as some households are finding it difficult to afford their new mortgages. This opinion is shared by a large number of Canadians, according to new data, which puts the government's liberal immigration policy in jeopardy. However, there are other variables at work besides immigration: the housing crisis in Canada before rising immigration. Recently, there has been a decline in home sales despite the high mortgage rates. October 2023 saw a 5.6% decline in home sales. As a result, even with mortgage rates increasing, house values have stayed relatively unchanged. US real estate prices barely decreased for around 5 months last year before increasing once more. This is partly because American fixed-rate mortgages keep homeowners with low interest rates from selling their houses and taking up the much higher rates on new properties that are available now. Limited inventories and deteriorating supply problems result from this. The situation is so dire that a large number of Canadians are applauding the price reduction. If home prices dropped, 70% of respondents indicated they would be glad or rather happy. This is true even though most households in Canada are homeowners, which means that housing equity may decrease when property values rise. Compared to Americans, Canadians are growing increasingly concerned about housing costs. Recent polls indicate that inflation and housing are their top concerns, respectively. The Canadian government has been promoting home building while trying to lower demand. The government imposed several new rules earlier this year, such as a 2-year prohibition on the majority of foreign nationals purchasing real estate in the nation, fees for speculators who purchase and quickly flip houses out of greed or speculation, and taxes on vacant properties. Even though the actions taken have helped to reduce demand, they might not be enough to bring prices down. I appreciate you watching this. Please remember to subscribe for more great videos like this one.